welcome to this series, God's Principles for Healthy Relationships, Season 2. My name is Debbie Raj and I'm here with my husband Martin, and today we're going to talk especially to those that are single, not even in a relationship. So are you still single? We're going to share things that no one tells you generally about how to be ready, which is as important as well.
Absolutely, it's as important as well, because many times when we are single, we might think that we are being punished by God. Maybe it is a season that we have done some mistakes in the past and God is keeping us single as a punishment. But is it really a punishment, or is God trying to teach us and make us grow into something? Singleness is a season where you can prepare for God's calling if you are not already in it. If you are in it already, great, continue to work in that calling. It is also a time where you grow, you work on yourself, you do different things to help yourself have a better lifestyle, better quality of life. And also, many times we want to wait till we find love. But how about this? Why don't we prepare ourselves to receive love? Why don't we prepare ourselves to give that love we receive from God? This season, when you are single, you might have not had any relationship before, or you might have had relationship before and right now you're single. Either way, think of it as a season where you can find peace and be content with God. That is the main purpose of singleness. Don't feel less, don't feel abandoned, don't feel rejected. Just remember, your singleness is the time for preparation for beautiful things that you can receive from God, including love.
And we want to share a little bit of our personal experience, how God used singleness in our life and all of those years without moving forward in our relationship and into marriage. And that now looking back, we in a way wish we could have learned it quicker. But we also see that we needed that time. And one of those things from our personal experience, and especially for me, it was to heal from emotional baggage that I was carrying. Not because I had been in previous relationships, but because there were things in me with the relationship with my family that God needed to heal. So when I first entered a relationship, actually I was not prepared emotionally to be a girlfriend, and God used it to mature me. And I realized that suddenly things would trigger me that I was like, where's this coming from? Like, I did not even understand why I would start crying and feel anxious. And as I was trying to process, because I had never really invested in my own journey into the healing part, I was now facing it in the relationship. So for example, if my boyfriend at that time, if he would be in his computer or iPad or phone and kind of spend too much time, I would feel ignored. But it was a pain that when I had to address it with him, I started crying. And I couldn't even explain why I was feeling so hurt. It wasn't just him. It was a pain from the past that was accumulated. So in my home, many times, my dad was busy in his computer, doing work, not bad things, but just taking a lot of time with it. And so at times my mom would feel like the computer is more important than me, and so he would come late to bed or different things like that, that in my family I resented the impact of electronics and those things that can divert us from in-depth relationships. So when now my boyfriend was actually doing certain things that remind me of my father, it would bring a pain that was from before, but now he was triggering those parts. And this happens very often. If we are unaware of what are those points that created pain, anxiety, trauma, that hurt us, and we don't allow God to heal and that we can process it, then it will come into our relationship with whoever we are dating. So I wish I had worked on that before, because I could have addressed things more objectively and not so emotionally.
And there is something positive also that you can do. in one of my experiences while I was single, I love to explore new places and make new memories. I have a friend, when I was in Maine, I would go with him to different places that I've never been because he knows several places and I was really new to Maine, and he would take me to places. And that really helped me to also be content and be happy while I'm still single.
Another thing that you can do is find your purpose. Just know what are your talents, what are things you enjoy. Have a meaningful life even as a single. So even though yes, sometimes we would desire to unite our life with someone and do it together, do not let go of a passion, a meaningful part in your life that you can implement even as a single. So whatever that might be, that is your strengths, your likes, something that God has given you that is special and that is unique, put it into practice, develop it, enjoy it. Don't forget about that.
And the next point is make friends and invest in them. I really love to have a lot of friends. It's easy for me to make friends than not to. And many times what would happen is if I want to go out, I would also invite them. Sometimes I would invite couples to go with me on a date. And these are all married people, of course. And we go together and I would treat them. So I never felt like, oh, I'm single, I don't know what to do, I'm lonely, I wish someone was there for me or someone would take care of me. None of those things were really my primary issues, because I was making new friends and I was investing time in them. I was very intentional. I was not trying to be sad, because I used to spend more time with others, and or even actually now that I think about it, I used to go play badminton at one of my friends' place. I would gather up a couple people, we will go play badminton. So there is a lot of things that you could do when you're single, and you never have to feel like you're all by yourself. Did I feel like I was alone? I was by myself, I felt lonely? Oh yes, absolutely. But that was not all the time, because most of the time I was occupied, I was trying to make myself better. I was also investing my time with good quality friends.
And the last one that we will share from our personal experience is that we also took time, and this was something important that God showed me, to build my belief system and my relationship with God. As many relationships were failing, as friends sometimes are not always there, present, and able to be with you at every single time, God is. God is able to be there in your high times, in your low times, anytime you need Him, and He wants to create a strong foundation. So when you meet a person and start to build a relationship with them, you can have clarity. What is my belief system? And as we work with young people and they are analyzing the potential in someone else, we tell them, why do you believe what you believe? Some are like, well, I grew up like this and I don't feel comfortable with something else. But why do you want to stick with that belief system? It's not just because your parents taught you or your church says it, but why is that important to you? And how is that impacting your life? Or why is that meaningful to you? So we need time to process that for ourselves. As we become adults and as we create our own belief system, take time to create that personal connection with God and understand why you believe what you believe.
Absolutely. And now we will look into some of the key points that will be helpful for you. The first one that you need to focus on is to understand that readiness is more about wholeness than timing, because many times we feel like we are ready to be in a relationship, or we feel like we need to do something to be ready within this certain time. But God, when He's working with us, He transcends all this time. So it is not about the time, but it is about how ready we are. Just because I became 25 years of age doesn't mean I'm ready for a marriage. I can, unfortunately or fortunately, I can still confess that I'm glad that I didn't find Debbie when I was in my 20s, because I was not mature enough to be a boyfriend, let alone being a husband. So God works more about readiness than the timing. If you really think about it, it is also about how whole you are in Christ, right? God wants us to be whole in Him. In that case, you are a whole and the other person is a whole. Two people that are complete in Christ come together and they become one whole person, one whole flesh. Genesis chapter 2 verse 24 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." So two whole independent people, they found their wholeness in Christ, come together to become one flesh. It is not two half people that come together to become complete. It is two people that come together and they complement each other. That is the way God functions. Again, timing is not the most priority, but how ready are you? Matthew chapter 10, if you see, Jesus sent the disciples to go and minister to other people. Were the disciples ready? We don't know. Just because they were there, Jesus did not say, okay, you have spent time with me and therefore you're ready to go. He wanted them to experience. They had to gain that experience. None of us will come to a point where we can say, I'm perfectly ready to be in a relationship. Just like the disciples couldn't say that they were perfectly ready to do or to start the ministerial work by themselves. God sometimes wants us to start working on it already, so when the time comes, just like when Jesus had to go back to heaven, they were able to start their full-time ministry. Likewise, when the time comes and when He sends the right person, we will be able to have a beautiful marriage or relationship that leads to marriage.
And just to think about that God is really interesting in our wholeness in the experience. Maybe, as Martin was saying, we will never be fully ready or perfect for a relationship or to become parents, but the preparation has a big role to play in helping us to have a better approach. Maybe if God would have brought Martin when I was younger and unprepared, I would have ruined the relationship with all of that baggage that I had to grow through, like other situations I went through before. And not only is your journey, but it's the journey of the other person. So maybe God has prepared you and you are ready, but God is preparing the other person and making them ready so you both can match.
Yeah.
Because many times we would even reject God's gift if we are not ready to receive it. We will be like, oh no, this is not what I wanted, or no, we wouldn't be at the right place to not only receive, but value God's gift. And that's something we notice in our relationship. We wish we met each other before, way before, and we could have our kids and everything would be set by now. But would we have been ready mentally, emotionally to value and treasure each other, to see it as a gift from God? And that is, God works holistically from every angle that sometimes we only see one place. And at the same time, He works with us in the process. So it's not like get fully healed and then I'll help you to help others, but surrender to me, and in the process, we can also experience God's goodness and plan. So the second point from the key points is clarity comes when you clean out the clutter. And what is that even meaning? It's not just organizing your room, your house, even though that has a role to play. If you can be more organized, yes, it will help in your marriage and all of that. But this is talking about, are you entertaining certain friendships or connections that are not meant for you, that that's not for you, but you're not letting it go because you are afraid of not having anything, or you are creating codependent relationship with other people. It might not even be a relationship, but it may be with a mentor, with a parent even. Codependency is never good, and it's going to keep us from moving forward into a healthy relationship. So when single, we can build, like we said, amazing friendships. Take time, invest in that. But be careful not to become codependent to friends, to mentors, to parents, that everything you have to count on them to live your life, because that is going to block you emotionally and spiritually from maturing, from being ready to move forward in a relationship, because it needs some maturity to make decisions, to process, to communicate. So definitely we highly encourage, ask God, are there maybe friendship connections that are blocking me from being ready, being depending on you and independent from others in the sense of codependency, that will block me from what you want to give me? Because this, we've seen so many people, even friends, that get stuck in this pattern of codependency with someone. And then they're like, oh, I cannot connect emotionally, and I don't know, relationships just, I don't see it working. But they share everything with this person, they pray with this person, they ask every question, share every thought, every breath they take, they text and let the other person know. So they have an intense codependent relationship that will never allow them to actually connect with someone else emotionally, and will not even allow them to grow spiritually with the Lord.
Absolutely. I mean, that codependency is a really a disease. It's a plague, because once you are entangled with them emotionally, and there is someone else that comes into the picture, that is who God has kept, and you're going to marry them, you still have this emotional tie with the other person that you have been codependent for years. It's so hard, and in a way you're cheating on your spouse because you're emotionally connected with the other person, and that's really bad. You have to be connected with your spouse emotionally as well. That's something that it has to be a common sense, but many people fail in that aspect. Point number 3, do you know what you're looking for, or just what you're avoiding? Do you know what you're looking for, or just what you are avoiding? Because what you're avoiding, it's easy, what you don't want in your relationship or marriage, it's easy to point out, and it's easy for you to say, okay, this is not what I want, this is not what I want, I don't want to marry someone like my dad, I don't want to marry someone like my mom, this, that, and you have a lot of things to say about it. But do you know what you want in your relationship, what you want in your marriage? Many times that goes off unspoken, unprocessed, unthought of. Maybe it would be better to also add, what do you want in your future spouse? Because when you're in your dating phase, you're basically wanting to get married to them, right? And if you're working towards it, or when you're working towards it, you will know what you want. And this has to happen in that waiting single phase, so that when they come, you know it will match with what you have been looking for.
And the last point from our key points is preparation is spiritual. It's a spiritual journey in the sense that we are growing as individuals in our connection with God. We're growing into allowing God to show us who He wants us to become, what He wants to create in us. And so not only focusing while we're single in what we look for and what we want and what we don't have, but who do we want to become? Because there are many things that we need to grow. Do I want to have a healthier lifestyle? Do I want to be more resourceful and more economical? Do I want to learn how to steward money better? Do I want to get out of debts? Like, all of those are things that as a single person you can start working on, and time won't be lost, but you will be so much better prepared to enjoy a relationship and marriage if these things are not left like in the back burner, and then suddenly when you're in a relationship all comes to the surface. To have to process that can be a lot. So while we are single, we can think about these things. What I encourage you to do is, like you have a list of core values you have and things you want your future partner to have, you can also write a list of things you want to become, you want God to do in you. Like I really had a long list, it was a lot longer than what I had for a future spouse at that time. I only had like 3 things for a future person, so almost anyone could fit in. And then for me, I had a long list of things. I wanted to be a cheerful person. I wanted to be a caring, with a motherly heart, and all of these things. So you can have a list for yourself, what you want God to do in you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just want to reiterate it, the fourth point. Preparation is spiritual, not just practical. Meaning that you can be practical, yes, but it doesn't always have to match with the spiritual aspect as well. God will give you certain things. Some people say, I want to be practical. I don't want this, this, and this. Let me give you an example. There are people who want to marry someone that is 6 feet tall. It might sound practical, but is that what God has kept for you? Certain things it's okay to compromise on your personal negotiables because God is going to give you something even better. So that is why it is very important for us to remember preparation is spiritual, not just practical. You let God to lead you and He will give you those core values. Those are non-negotiables. Those are the things that you value as your dear life. And the other things, it can be practical, it can seem practical to you, but it can be negotiable for you. So, are you in a phase where you are by yourself, your peers are married or they have relationships, your classmates, your friends, they are all married or something is happening exciting in their life, but you're all by yourself? Never feel that you are left behind. Don't feel that God is punishing you and therefore you are stuck being single. Remember, it is always depending on how you see your life is. If you're going to see as a punishment, it is a punishment. But if you see it as a time where you can enjoy your singleness, but also use it to become a better person, to grow, it'll have even a better impact in your life because you are using this time not just simply sitting, but you are actively working on it. That's why we love to tell our clients that singleness is not passive. It's not sitting in a corner and expecting the right person to walk through the doors. But singleness is active. You're actively working on yourself. You're actively receiving God's love or accepting God's love so that you can give it to other people. And it is also time for you to be ready to receive when others give you that God's love.
So I love that part, that waiting is not passive, but is actively doing something that God has for us. And you can even write prayers or letters to the future person or asking God to help you wait. And so it can be very active, not passive. So we want to end with a challenge that it's the becoming list. You can write 3 traits you want in a partner, but then you will write 3 ways you are growing in those areas. So if I want someone that is honest, that is cheerful, that is hardworking, how am I growing in those same areas? I am cheerful. Am I cheerful? Am I honest? And am I really hardworking as well? So take some time to write those 3 different things that you want and how are you growing in those same areas. And as we conclude, you had something?
No, I just wanted to point out the verse, Proverbs 8:22, that says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." I just wanted to point that out because it's a very powerful verse. We cannot take it for granted. And when we are single, use the time wisely. But when the right person comes, it is a favor from the Lord.
And never lose hope. I love the 3 Hebrew boys. They were faced with death, but they knew that God could deliver them. And if God didn't, they would stand for Him. So trust that God can do the miracle in your life and keep working in what He has for you. God bless, and we'll see you in the next episode.